Take a look at those numbers. You see Kansas State just 43%, but they got 36 points off 35 shots from the field. But the difference is that fourth number down. 8 Baylor turnovers. Kansas State actually had 12 more field goal attempts that first half. That's the difference in the game.
As we resume play in the second half, Scott Drew, the Baylor head coach, was the last one out of his dressing room. Jason King, did you get a chance to catch up to him?
Brad, and his main message to his team was, hey, we've got to get tougher. You know, Kansas State got their tails kicked on Monday. They've come out with more energy, more enthusiasm. They want it more right now. You know, 10-2 on second chance points for Kansas State. They've already forced 8 Baylor turnovers. Baylor only had 9 the whole game last week, so getting tougher, the main message for Baylor. Brad?
Jason, thank you. And Austin there for that long rebound. Now Jackson. Gruder said, look what I found.
And giving them those second chance opportunities, though. Absolutely. We talked about that right at the top. 2 second chance points so far the whole ball game for Baylor.
Yeah, that is a big deal. Enriquez using his body, couldn't get the ball to go, but he will get himself to the line.
You know, I don't always buy that argument that, you know, the team that wins wants it more. Well, not that they both want it as much as they can. If somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. But in this case, I understand Scott Drew's point. Those are effort plays they're making. Second chance points, 10 for Kansas, 2 for Baylor. Look at the number of shot opportunities.
Enriquez is only a 30% foul shooter, but he has played well of late. With just 1 of 5, as you see from the floor, but he's got those 6 rebounds. There's Jefferson.
He was so good at the end of last year. I asked Bruce Weber, what do you think it is? He said, we played so many teams that are playing small. Sometimes he has trouble with that. No trouble there.
No, another turnover, although that one was a steal. And Rodriguez is in double figures for the 5th time in the last 6 games.
And a nice throw ahead by Enriquez to get him that layup. And back to 12 here, and a bad start for Scott Drew's team.
It really is. That's the 2nd assist of the night, too, for Enriquez.
Nope, that ain't getting it.
How about that? And that is his 4th block. Spradlin. Enriquez.
What a start to the second half by Enriquez. And Scott Drew, I think, is going to take a timeout right here.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. A great first half for Kansas State. A horrible start to the second half for the Baylor Bears. Well, there are a lot of reasons that Kansas State has built this 14-point lead over Baylor. And one of the biggest, literally and figuratively, is number 21, the 6'11 senior from Port Chester, New York, Jordan Enriquez. And look at this line. The 5 points, that's fine. 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 blocks. We just started the second half.
And we talked about how capable he is last year in the conference tournament against this Baylor team. He had 22 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks. And he has really been a catalyst here in the second half.
Now, what might Scott Drew have said to his team in that timeout?
Other than he better get the shot he wants on this possession. Here's a sense of urgency right here, but being well defended.
Walton, you see the look on his face. He can't get what he wants inside.
Yeah, that's what they were looking at. They were going to try and punch him in the face, and now it's a turnover again. Scott Drew actually with a pat on the back to Southwell said good D to him. Which is pretty good self-control, because I'm sure he wasn't pretty pleased with that possession.
No, that's probably not what he was thinking about. Let me congratulate the other team's defensive player.
Out of a timeout when we drew him the plane.
Yeah. Southwell, look at the spacing again.
They're executing really well. They came back just as a coach wants to see a team come back after that Kansas game the other night. Here he is again. He'll get it again, big fella. Kick it out. How about a 3? pull the trigger on that one.
I did too. I actually thought I wanted to see him just catch it and go up.
Yeah, that's the best threes when it's coming straight out from the goal and you get to step into it. See, then he took that one, which wasn't as good.
But Rodriguez chases down the rebound. Boy, speaking of catalysts, he's just been tremendous for them. Only a sophomore. Behind the back dribble to get free. Spradling's wide open. Shot that one from Salina.
They got 4 opportunities there. They're dodging a bullet there. Not sure about that one.
No, but he loves that shot. I mean,
that's not the time. They need a flow right now. They got to start getting the defense knocked on their heels a little bit.
Enriquez picks up his 2nd foul. We'll keep an eye on that. You're exactly right. It was not the time.
This Baylor team is a good assist team as well. And again, careless with the ball.
Southwell, tremendous anticipation to get the steal. Scott Drew had a full head of black hair when we started the evening.
Yeah, but you know what? Getting turnovers doesn't do much if you give it right back. That's 2 empty possessions now. It's points off turnovers. They didn't have that big an advantage there in the first half.
Enriquez, you see him trot to the bench there at the bottom of your screen. That's because of the 2nd foul. So Thomas Gibson will come in. There's Thomas, who is, it's a cab ride around him. Look at the look inside from the big fella. And then the strip.
Yep.
Spradling had that one.
They got to convert some of these, though, or it's going to come back and haunt them.
Baylor is 0 for the half. K-State has expanded their lead. Gibson. Good block by Jefferson.
They're getting nothing, though. A lot of empty possessions.
Hessler.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. This team is too explosive. You keep getting empty possessions, they're going to get themselves back in the ballgame. Hessler's not going to miss many of those. All sorts of time.
Southwell, a long look in front of him there with Austin. Now Gibson, oh my goodness. I think that might have been
I think?
He got his money's worth.
I think they're going to have to measure for the first down there. That's close.
He got his money's worth. If you're going to foul a big fella, go ahead and get it all. Kansas State by 11 over Baylor in the early going of the 2nd half. And rivalry week on ESPNU continues Sunday afternoon. 3 ranked teams highlight the doubleheader supporting the Play for K and its fight against cancer at 1:30 Eastern Time. DePaul squares off against Tiana Hawkins and Louisville. Then at 3:30, Tara Vanderveer's Stanford team faces a tough road test against Markel Walker and UCLA. Play for K, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's. Sunday on ESPNU and also live on Watch ESPN. Wendy's with Rivalry Week, and Bob, I'll let you say another word about the Play for K initiative, because it's just a great thing. It's win-win all around.
Kay, of course, was the women's coach at NC State when my brother Jim was not only the men's coach, then became the athletic director. And she was so loyal to him, became such a dear friend, and he felt the same way. And she's helped us out with the V Foundation and our initiatives there. And such a courageous woman in her fight, ultimately, that she did not win, but she was a great inspiration to so many.
Play for K, highlighted by that triple header tomorrow. Heslop.
That was out of a timeout. They were looking for that. He just made one. I'll tell you, if this gets close, Kansas State's going to look at this first 4 minutes with all the opportunities. Baylor already made 4 turnovers, and they did not get more separation. That may come back and haunt them. We'll see. They turned it over again, though.
5 turnovers.
You know, if you keep doing this, though, Brad, they're going to just tell me to stay home, because you said at the start of this program, the key is going to be, you're doing the analysis now, Baylor turning the ball over, and bang, that's just exactly what it's been.
I'll make our director, Dave Burchett, and a lot of other people happy and just be quiet.
No, I'll be quiet. You're doing everything. My job, your job, everybody's job. But you're spot on. That's the story.
Southwell. Enriquez back in the game, and Rodriguez.
Again, though, Nothing off the turnover. And Baylor is a couple of possessions away from this thing all of a sudden getting a lot less comfortable.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. If they stop turning it over, they're explosive and they can climb right back in. But K-State has not wilted. Austin, see, Southwell doing a great job on Austin. Look at that. And Magruder battling Gathers for the rebound.
Good call.
Off Magruder.
It's a good call there. As Gathers in there battling. And the ball, last touch. Take a look here. Watch at the very end. Watch, Gathers touches it, and then it's going to be right there. You can see he knocked it with his right hand. Good Magruder.
There you go. That's what you were talking about, Heslop.
2 threes this half for Heslop. He has 9, and all of a sudden you're back in 8-point game. It's actually a big possession right here.
Southwell.
Nope. I'm telling you, there's too many. Offense has been so good for Kansas State all year. This is way too many empty possessions.
Great look inside from Jackson. And they're going to count this Gathers basket. And call the foul on Magruder, and that is 3 on Magruder.
And all of a sudden he makes this free throw, and with 13:23 to go, you got a 5-point game on your hands.
Yeah, and Magruder's feet were moving. Everything about him was moving. It's an easy call for the official. I believe you've just analyzed your way right back into contention here, Coach Yamamoto.
Just had a sense Baylor's too good offensively to have that many empty possessions. And now you got to play half court. It's been harder for K-State.
And even though Magruder's been somewhat quiet with 6 points, he has to sit down now because he's got 3 fouls.
Right. Yep, you still have to guard him, stretch the defense. And Baylor senses it. They got more bounce in their step defensively here. You can see it.
Irving, who's come into the game for Magruder. Heslop following, spraddling around.
He's just chasing the parking lot.
4 to shoot. Irving.
It's an illegal screen, too. They got away with one.
Numbers.
Yep, look out.
For Heslop, it's a 2-point game.
That is the beauty of Jackson. He knew where he was throwing that ball when he crossed the midcourt line. Everything else was to occupy the defense, suck him back in the lane, and then Heslop's got his 3rd 3 of the half, and you got yourself a 1-possession game. Look at this little shake. He knows he's thrown it there the minute he made the move.
I mean, it's a great observation by you. And seriously, if you're a baseball fan, you go to a baseball game and your team is maybe up a run or 2, but they're leaving men on base in the first 3 innings, you know you're going to get later in the game and you're going to need those runs. And that's exactly what you saw here from Kansas State in this last stretch of minutes.
My brother Jim used to call it the anatomy of the game as we look at the Baylor's tournament resume here. Pretty strong resume. Obviously that win at Kentucky, and everyone's going to say now, well, how good a win was that? But, you know, that was when they had Nerlens Noel and they hadn't lost at home since like the French and Indian War. I mean,
right.
That's a pretty good win.
Yeah, Northwestern and College of Charleston were bad losses, but I'm telling you, when you have what they've got on the front line, a 3-point shooter like Heslop and a point guard like Jackson, you can be very dangerous in the month of March. And remember, they are the #1 defensive team in the Big 12, and you just saw what Kansas State has been held to in the last few minutes. Baylor was 1 for their first 4 from the floor, so they've really been on a tear to get back in this game.
And this defense now is so much more animated, extended. Look at Walton there, clapping his hands.
4 for Rodriguez. Seconds and maybe points.
And Rodriguez talking, Walton talking back. Keep an eye on that. You like the emotion, but you got to be careful there. Rodriguez woofing at him as soon as that ball went through the net.
Rodriguez already been into it with Jefferson a couple of times earlier in the game. Heslip. Oh yeah, see, now we've got the game that we expected all along. See, they try to turn over again right there.
Right.
Walton. That's just gravy. If they get that kind of offense from A.J. Walton, that is just gravy.
No, he is. He's a guy, you know what, let a sleeping dog lie, because the more excited he gets, the better he plays. And this free throw is what turned him on. Now he's got Rodriguez wolfing at him, the student section yelling at him, and he's going to take on all comers.
Southwell's wide open.
Oh, that's a bad defensive mistake there, though. Scott Drew has a pained expression on his face, yelling at Jefferson, you can't get caught in that screen.
Apparently you can, because it just happened to him. Yeah, that was bad for Baylor and very good for Kansas State. And Southwell with 4 threes in the game. And that defense. Spradlin, huge rebound battle and gathers.
Good call. You got to be careful. As the emotion picks up, you can't let those calls get away from you. You'll never put the fish back in the can, if I'm making my own analogy here. You just can't. Take a look at the nice pull-up there. Deep in the shot clock. And look at the emotion, yelling at the crowd. And then at the other end, Southwell goes to the corner.
Let's send it back to Brad and Bob.
Kara, thank you. And ACC Sunday Night Basketball, part of rivalry week on ESPNU. And this week, more important because of that Duke game, the Red Hot Hurricanes, led by Durant Scott, take on the Tigers. Coverage begins with ACC Sunday Night Basketball pregame at 5:30 Eastern. Then it's number 3 Miami against Clemson at 6 on ESPNU and live on Watch ESPN. And Miami, predicted by many, especially ESPN's Joe Lunardi, to be a #1 seed.
Like this time of year, do you think Joe just wakes up like in the middle of the night and goes and moves the team up or down or something?
I don't know.
I just can't sleep. I got to move that.
I don't know if he goes to sleep. I was going to say. I don't think he sleeps.
Hour by hour, it just gets crazy.
Well, in this year in particular, and that's great for fans and for people like Joe Lunardi, it's a nightmare. 6-point game here. It was 9 at half and got to 12.
And got down to 2. This is a good answer by K-State, though. After they were threatened, they've answered back.
A couple of huge shots by Rodriguez and Southwell. Irving. Wow.
That was as flat a 3-point shot as I've ever seen, but it came out the bottom, and there's no pictures on the scoreboard.
Martavius Irving's a 42% three-point shooter. And back to 9 just like that. That is a tremendous answer by K-State.
Absolutely.
Austin, look at the triple team. And Omari Lawrence got a hand in there, the junior from the Bronx, for his first foul. Team fouls, 4 on Kansas State, 3 on Baylor.
Take a look at Austin. 5 points against West Virginia. He's got 4 tonight, those 6 rebounds, much bigger presence on the glass. Of course, he has been just sensational all year. 9 double-doubles, which is second in the Big 12.
He's just so long, he gets a lot of those rebounds just by reaching over folks. Just an infant in his basketball growth. Back down to 7. And out there on Southwell. A good screen.
Well defended, though. That was a really good job. And Walton is really making it hard for Rodriguez to go where he wants to.
3 to shoot. 3 to score.
I'll tell you what, though, Rodriguez deserves a lot of credit for not getting rattled. And he mentioned it earlier. You get a team that passes well. Guys know how to play without the ball. And Southwell set that up beautifully deep in the shot clock to get his 5th three-pointer of the game.
That's kind of Bruce Weber basketball. No panic.
Yep. This is deep into the shot clock here. And the good presence of mind. And then look at Southwell setting that up to come behind for the little flip. 2 on the shot clock. And he has been red hot. The 41% three-point shooter has 5 on the day.
And fouls again. Threatening to be a problem for Kansas State. That's 5 on them. Baylor's committed only 3. Here comes Heslop back. Look at the assists. Wow. Rose triggers inbounds. Jackson.
Oh, there you go. And that's just what you're talking about. As brilliant as he is, giving a possession away there. He's in the lane. Tries for a little bit too difficult to pass. The window's too small, and they get a turnover and a foul.
Yeah, and a really good job by number 12, Omari Lawrence, of keeping Austin, along with Southwell, of keeping Austin from getting in, being able to get up and go after that lob.
Yep. Turnover numbers. You just saw a minute ago. 14-4. Wow.
How about that? 14 turnovers. They are averaging fewer than 13 a game.
And then more importantly, they've only created 4.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Enriquez with 7.
And then says, I'm going to play goalie at the other end.
An end-to-end game tonight for Jordan Enriquez.
And what's terrific is he really had to cover a lot of ground at the end of that play. You're seeing the dunk right here, but now he runs down the floor, and he's not really sprinting yet. You can see right there, he just starts off in a jog, and then he sees Heslop's going to go to the basket and kicks it up a gear and gets there to block it. The crowd loves it.
Of course, with the length of his legs, it only took 3 strides.
That's a good point.
Off the ball, a hold. That's on Southwell, his first.
Next one puts him in a one-on-one, I believe.
Right, that's correct.
Well, this has been an impressive answer by K-State, though. It got to 2, and they have just outscored them from that point on now, 14-4, and back up to 12.
Forced turnovers, done things like that. What a great bounce look from Irving to Gibson.
Scott Drew's going to take another timeout. What an answer by the Wildcats when it looked like they were knocked on their heels a bit. Nice pass by Irving. Good movement without the ball by the big fella Gibson. And that's as easy a bucket as he'll get, his 6th point of the day.
You know, it's not easy to walk into a program that's had some success, into a culture that you're not really familiar with. And Bruce Weber, I think, is one of the leading candidates for Big 12 Coach of the Year. And if you have a list for National Coach of the Year, obviously what Jim Larrañaga is doing may eclipse everything. But he's on the list, I'm telling you.
He's a finalist. He'd be invited to the awards banquet.
Wouldn't he? Here's a fun fact we found out today. Most people who follow the sport know he's a disciple of Gene Cady. And, of course, he was at Illinois. He was at Southern Illinois. And Gene Cady went to school here. Didn't play basketball here. Gene Cady was a football player here and on the track team.
If you've been to some of Gene Cady's practices, though, you can see that football background.
Or yes, or some of those Purdue games when he was there. Oh, there's no doubt about that. But it's so interesting to me that there's that link. Even though Bruce Weber didn't go to school here, hadn't coached here, that link to Gene Cady links him to this place. And I'll tell you, he has done a great job, and we've got a timeout on the floor now with 7:41 remaining in the game, and Kansas State has opened it back up to 14 points. (59-45) Kansas State over Baylor in this tremendous Big 12 fight. And let's take a look at this epic battle within the Big 12, brought to you by History's Vikings. And they are going to be going right down the stretch here in the in the last 4 weeks or so of Big 12 play. Oklahoma State with a win earlier today. Kansas will tip off against Texas in about 20 minutes. And if K-State holds on here, then they're right back into the first place tie that they had. Now it would be a three-team tie. And Ben, Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma are all still right there.
Well, and you know, no games are easy, no conference games. That's not a cliche, it's true. But when you look at their schedule, you got to feel like Bruce Weber knows this is a stretch. They got to get something going. They have Baylor here tonight, of course. West Virginia at home is their next game. They go to Texas. Mike Cabango's back, so that changes the complexion a little bit. Then they have Texas Tech at home. So that's a 4-game stretch here where they're trying to get themselves springboarded into a little bit of momentum. And as you said, be tied for first place when they go to games 2 through 4 in that stretch.
Interesting wrinkle to the Big 12 race also that this is the first of the 2 meetings between these 2 teams. It's not often that you go this deep into the calendar without 2 teams, when everybody plays each other, having not met yet.
Now, as you mentioned earlier, some of the fouls coming back to haunt K-State, because they'll put Baylor on the line. Something they have done a good job of, basically. In the first half, they did a terrific job. Both teams did, avoiding fouls.
Well, the last one was on Gibson. It was his 3rd. They're going to have to make their free throws, Baylor, if they want to climb back into this. K-State, that answer to the Baylor run was just tremendous. Jackson's first foul shot attempt of the night. Heslop sits down. Deuce Bello replaces him, more a defensive specialist.
The leading scorer in the conference has just 6 points, as you see right there. That's a huge, huge part of it as well. They've defended him very, very well.
And they've done it with different people. It hasn't been all Rodriguez. Rodriguez has switched off.
Oh, they've done it as a team. Their scouting report, both these teams did such a terrific job. We went to their walkthroughs today, and they were so thorough, efficient, very, very impressive, the preparation on both sides.
Bellows on Rodriguez. Well, someone forgot to stay with Gibson, and Gibson forgot to put the ball in the basket. Now this youngster they really like. Number 35 is Torian Prince, a freshman from San Antonio. Remember that name. The next year or so he is going to be a bigger and bigger actor on the Baylor stage.
And again, you see how quickly they can score. That's why they're certainly not comfortable yet here. They still have some work to do.
Lawrence got to the hoop.
Look at this transition. A little pass behind a little bit, but a nice job of gathering it in, and then Prince to the bucket. But what a good answer here. Not sure what the contact was, but it's a good finish by Lawrence.
They called it on Prince, and that was mildly ticky-tack out on his arm as before he made the cut into the paint.
I'm not even sure it was ticky, let alone ticky-tack.
Ticky-tack.
It was not that close, but Lawrence, though, good job finishing it.
May not have been ticky. Scott Drew thought it was tacky.
He gets his first points of the day, and that's been the theme for K-State here in the second half, hasn't it? Every time there's a little bit of a threat, they've come back and answered.
And is that not one of the real signs of a good team? It's a game of runs. The other guy's going to make a little push.
You're right. They got down to 2 and very quickly went back up to 12 in a hurry.
Bello. Yeah, you can tell.
Look at the turnover numbers. Wow. I mean, think about that. That's like starting a game and saying, Brad, your team can have the ball 11 times to start. Here you go. You got 11 possessions to start the game. Not going to win very many of those. Especially when the rebounding has been pretty even today. Kansas State's more than held its own on the glass against this very good rebounding team.
Right, best rebounding team in the league, Baylor.
Oh, my goodness, steal.
And he got Austin on his back. So Enriquez has 9. Austin has his second foul.
Really just in that curl, they are just, hey, that time Jackson got hung up in there. He's going to have to pay rent if he got stuck on that screen any longer.
Wow. The simple fact is that Enriquez doesn't play like this with these results every night. But if he does, when he does,
well,
they can play with anybody.
Well, you know why? You said at the top, this is a big team, Baylor. And he plays better against teams of the size than when a lot of these teams are playing like in the 6-foot and under league now, exactly. With all those perimeter guys.
Exactly right. Now Magruder had a long rest with those fouls. 6 minutes left. 15-point Kansas State lead. Prince with a rebound. Jackson.
Well, Southwell's going to, I believe, have the proverbial insult to injury because he gets the foul and got clocked in the face. Ow, 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 ow.
He did come away worse for wear on that one.
That irritation when you pumped in a kisser and they're pointing at you for the foul.
Wow. And Scott Drew is really down to making almost platoon substitutions now. He's got Walton in for Prince. He's got Bello in for Heslop because he's anticipating being on the defense, and it's a little early down 14 to be going to offensive defensive substitutions, but that's kind of where he is right now.
Yeah, you can't give away any possessions from here on out. You really can't. You got to start thinking in terms of getting something out of every trip up and down. You know, most coaches define a possession obviously at each end of the floor, so the first order of business is get a stop or get a steal on the defensive end.
Austin's 4 second-half points for Baylor have all come at the line. They've kept it clean. Look at Enriquez getting behind. What do I do with this? And then Jackson called for the foul.
Everything's going to be shot from here on in. Is that 6 on Baylor? State and Baylor both shoot the same percentage, 67%. No real edge there. Of course.
Magruder looking cold. Bello had no idea what he was doing with that.
Absolutely.
2-on-1. I'll do it. Magruder from Rodriguez. points.
Yeah. Scott Drew, actually, that was incredible watching that. He orchestrated that little two-man play from the bench, had that whole thing set up in his mind. He was going to get the three-point look for Austin and then try and take a timeout, and it's exactly as it played out. As you take a look at the force by Bello, and then a nice job in transition, good spacing. Walk in the park for Rodriguez, makes the lob for the dunk. But at the other end, as they were bringing it up, Scott Drew was orchestrating, telling Austin, you for the three. And then he knew he was going to try and call timeout right after it. That's exactly what they got.
ESPN College Basketball is available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app. Download it right now if you want to.
You talked about it earlier, though. I mean, both these coaches that deserve accolades. You're right. You talked about Scott Drew, what he's done there, and probably not getting the attention that he gets. It's kind of like, oh, by the way, yeah, they're one of only 6 teams in the country to be in 2 Elite Eights in the last 3 years. And then Bruce Weber has to be in the discussion for National Coach of the Year as the last month of this season plays out. And certainly Coach of the Year in this conference.
You know, Lon Kruger made the league better when he came in at Oklahoma last year. I think Bruce Weber's done the same thing here in Manhattan. Now there's a turnover. Franklin now.
Nice pass. Nice pass back.
Franklin. And the rebound stolen by Southwell.
That's, you know, it makes sense, though. You get it under 10 with that, with still 4+ to go. You got a shot.
What a drive. What a drive by Rodriguez. And count it. Boy, he's playing well.
He has really been in his zone. We talked about the last 8 games coming into tonight, 48 assists and just 14 turnovers. He's first in the conference in assist to turnover ratio, and now scoring very effectively as well.
And by the way, he is 2 assists away from a double-double tonight. The foul was on Franklin, and it was the 7th team foul on Baylor, but this is to convert the old-fashioned three-point play.
That's another bonus, as he's a fine free throw shooter at 80%. So late in the game, spread out, let him get fouled, and they get it done for you.
Yeah, and he's like 88% over his last 6 games.
That's even better. And look
And a steal.
Wow. One of those 2 assists, maybe. Nope.
Gibson.
Good block.
Good block from behind. We're still playing.
They got the assist after all.
How about this game by K-State? Walton, his 3rd 3 of the night. 14 points with under 4 minutes. What an answer to their game in Lawrence on Monday. Foul is on Walton. K-State will be at the line, up by 14. Kara, thank you. Arizona State, one of those, I think they are on Joe's first 4 out list right now. But Colorado, a former foe of both of these schools in the Big 12, they're enjoying quite a nice resurgence out there in the West. They're having a nice year. And a little pat on the backside for the big man from Coach Weber, who's got his team in position to make a nice run down the stretch, and he's changing some things he's doing in practice because they've got, you know, they played last Saturday and then Big Monday against Kansas, and now they're playing here, and then they got Big Monday again against West Virginia when Bob Huggins comes back here where he coached for you, and they've got 3 of those Saturday Mondays in a row. So Bruce said he's changing his practice routine a little bit.
Well, he's tried not to practice 3 days in a row at this point in the year. And you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I know fans sometimes think if you just, it's like a bottomless pit as you take a look at their upcoming schedule. We talked about that a moment ago. I mean, it sets up well for them. 3 home games in there. And certainly they will be favored in probably every game other than maybe the one at Baylor. But, you know, you got to keep guys fresh. You do. It's that simple. And if not, you got to play with some emotion, and he's trying to do that.
Heslop saved it, but he saved it to Irving.
This has been an impressive second half by K-State when it was 43-41. They have really answered the call from them, 30-16 since.
Oops. Jackson.
What a clip pass that was. Just between the 2 defenders, 2 guys ran at him, threw it between them. Austin had no trouble flushing.
With those goggles and that skinny frame, who does he remind you of, Austin? He doesn't remind you of a very young Kareem? I'm not talking about as a player. I'm talking about just the physical with those goggles.
He's tall
and skinny, and they
he's thin, and he's
yeah.
got goggles. But Kareem didn't wear goggles that early in his career, starters.
Well, that's true. But later,
All right, I'll give you.
I just saw that and I thought,
partner,
thank you very much.
Tall and he plays basketball.
No, I saw. You're right. He did not. When he was Lou Alcindor, he did not wear those goggles.
What a pass that was.
And then Southwell hustles to his own shot.
And well disciplined, and Bruce Weber says we don't need to shoot so quickly. Buck's our buddy right now. Let's milk another 25 or so off.
Frustrating for these Baylor players.
They made their share of mistakes. They gave up that rebound on the free throw, and they certainly turned the ball over far too much. I mean, you can't afford to do that on the road against a quality team.
Well, you can't afford to do it anywhere, but to just put it on the turnovers then doesn't give K-State credit for what they did right. Well, Enriquez will go back to the line.
They did tons right, there's no question. And most notably, you said it twice already, the character they've shown, the resilience when they were threatened here in the second half. What did they answer quickly and effectively? These guys had a lot to say about that. That may be the loudest 9-point game you'll see all year.
No kidding. The whole line, you know, he's got 10 rebounds. He's going to have a double-double if he makes a free throw. If he just makes one free throw.
Might have put the Loki on him here. Let's see.
Had he made a free throw.
He bailed out. There you go.
And a double-double.
He made it dramatic, which was good. Baylor team only gives up, that's going to be a turnover, yep. This Baylor team only gives up 63 points a game, and K-State's already got 74. We've got almost 2 minutes to go yet.
Yeah, that double-figure streak is in jeopardy, and he's got at least 5 turnovers. He had one game in their little losing streak where he had 11. It's hard to comprehend.
Won't make his personal highlight for him.
Oh, but Kansas State's thrown them all out of their rhythm.
Yeah, they've done a good job. They really have. As you said, not fair to just talk about Baylor mistakes. The Kansas State deserves a lot of credit at both ends. Good execution. Why not?
6-3.
I mean, that is as perfect a late game possession as you get. They shot it with 2 on the clock.
Yeah, count that basket, and Magruder hip checked him.
Walton just under a 7-point-a-game scorer. That was 14. But I mean, that last possession though for K-State was just exactly what as a coach would want.
Is he doing a shake?
Dance.
Is he doing a shake?
I don't think that's the Harlem shake.
Because he's from Harlem, you know.
But still, just because he's shaking and he's from Harlem, I don't think it makes it the Harlem shake.
It would make it a Harlem shake.
What a variation on
That's why I asked if he was shaking.
I don't consider myself an expert on it, but
I didn't really think he was shaking, but you have to ask now. Deuce Bello committing that foul. You have to ask.
Have you seen McLemore's dance? That's impressive. He may be the best dancer in the conference, and that's saying something. And the conference made up of outstanding dancers.
Yeah. Now a little deeper to the bench for Bruce Weber. Adrian Diaz getting ready to come back with Lawrence and another freshman, DJ Johnson. What a night for Weber.
You got to get dialed into the dance. You see Tubby Smith's dance in the locker room?
I heard about it. I have not seen it.
That was outstanding. And they'll be doing some dancing here in Manhattan tonight after this, as well they should. Good win, and a big one.
Arizona State and Colorado, a big one out west coming up next on ESPNU, and we're done with this one. And here is the latest from Joe Lunardi. Last 4 in, and the first 4 out.
Boy,
Arizona State right now is on that list that you don't want to be on.
Temple, Franny Dunphy's been in and out. He's been up and down like an elevator in terms of that picture, but that's what it's going to be like. You might as well get used to it for the next month. That ain't going to change.
When you're on one of those lists, you're better off not to look.
Probably true. But what a game this young man's had. He really has been just what the doctor ordered, giving him terrific defense, scoring, handling the ball, goes to the bench, gets a big hand, and congratulations from his coach, and well-deserved.
He did get a double-double. He's got 10 assists. And Sean Meyer, a sophomore from Kansas City, and Michael Orris, number 44, a freshman from Crete, Illinois, into the game for the Wildcats. Rose misses.
Obviously, that double-figure streak for Jackson will end as he headed to the bench as well. So Kansas State doing a great job with their game plan. It's probably not presumptuous to give them that win on the standings there.
I don't think so. And so they're tied with Oklahoma State, an overtime winner over OU today. Kansas just getting started against Texas, at home against Lawrence. And that game is on ESPN. Waning seconds in the Little Apple. Diaz harassed by Prince. Two of the better young big men in this league. Meyer.
That's what kind of day it's been.
Sean Meyer's first points of the entire season.
That's a pretty dramatic way to get him, too. That was some shot.
We're done in Manhattan. What an impressive win for the Wildcats. Once again, the final score is Kansas State 81 and Baylor 61. I'm Brad Sham for Jason King and Bob Valvano. Now to the studio with Kara Capuano and Adrian Brand.